Hey everyone, welcome to my final play. I'm here with former Division II baseball player Tim Fausnaught. Tim, thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
So, with the sport of the game of baseball, how has that all started, and to what extent did you play?
Well, baseball started when I was a kid. I think I was like 4 or 5. I was at my grandmother's house in Selinsgrove.
Yeah.
And she used to love throwing a ball to me. So one day we're at the back of her house, and she threw a ball to me, and I hit it over her roof. And she just thought that was the greatest thing ever. So I can remember her calling my house, and my dad goes, "He hit it where?" And we just laughed about it. But then since that, I just always loved playing. Like I always had a ball in my hand, it was football or basketball or baseball. And,
Yeah.
you know, we do Little League, and then it was pretty good. And then as you got older, I think, well, I'm pretty good at this. And it was not just baseball; it was the other sport. I just loved playing sports. Baseball just happened to be the one that I was the best at playing.
Yeah.
So then, when I got to high school, I said, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a professional baseball player. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I can remember my dad looking at me and saying, well, you're going to have to work harder than anybody else does. You're going to have to do things that nobody else wants to do, nobody else wants to train at and do, if you want to be the best that you want to be. So I did that. You know, I got the best out of what I was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my number one goal is when we played sports was to win, number one. It wasn't about just me doing well.
Right.
It was about us winning something. So then when I got in high school, I was pretty good, went some places, and Clemson University offered me a scholarship to come there and play baseball. I'm going to be a Division I baseball player at an ACC school, and I'll go there 3 years, get drafted, and maybe go back.
Yeah.
That was literally my plan. And my wife says that man plans and God laughs. So I went to Clemson University, and I wasn't as good as I thought I was. Now, I still worked as hard as anybody else did, or if not harder.
Yeah.
At that time, my abilities weren't as good as those guys were. From my coach's standpoint, maybe that, you know, and then we started getting my psyche that maybe I'm not as good as I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
But by the grace of God, there was a man named Harry Hilson at Mansfield University that had wanted me to come play for him since I was in 9th grade.
Yeah.
And I can remember talking to him several times in the spring, and he says, "Come here because we really want you to be here." All right, because I was going to quit. I was going to just quit college, quit all that, because I was a local man. So that summer I started that work again, and that was, I'm going to outwork you. And I went to Mansfield and was blessed enough and lucky enough to be around some great players and some coaches and people that just made me feel special. They really did. They made me feel like I was wanted there.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't matter how great I was or good or bad I was, they just wanted me there. And again, by hard work and having fun and just getting better, we became great baseball teams and just had a lot of fun.
Right. So, how many years did you spend there in Mansfield then?
I spent 4 years at Mansfield.
Okay. As far as some of the accolades, what were some of the accomplishments that you had along the way?
I think the biggest accolades are us winning 2 College World Series.
Yeah.
You know, as a team, to me, that was the biggest things.
Right.
We played for a national championship in '92, and in '93 we finished 4th. So as accolades that way, that's the biggest for me.
Mm-hmm.
Individually, you know, we did all right. You know,
Yeah.
it was, you know, all conference for 3 years and all region, all American twice, and those are important to me.
Yeah.
But those World Series championships and then those memories, they're the most important to me.
Right. So, if you could then, walk us through the scenario as far as your final play.
Yeah, we talked about it. So my final play in college, we're playing Troy State University,
Yeah.
who's now a Division I school. And it's an elimination game in the College World Series. They had beaten us a couple days before. We had won a game. Now we have to play them again.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple hits in the game to start. I still remember that. And we were down a run.
Yeah.
Down a run. It was the last inning of the game. There's a guy on first. I think there's one out. Either one out or no outs. I'm not sure. I don't think there were any outs. And I came up, and as I'm walking to the batter's box, I knew that guy from first had to get the second, or we were done.
Yeah.
If no one drove him in, we were done. And as I'm walking up, I knew my coach was going to give me a bunt sign. And if Harry ever watches this, he never gave us a bunt sign. We had to win. We had to get that guy over. So I knew walking in, I can still remember getting in and going, this is going to be my last bat ever. If, number one, I don't get that guy over.
Right.
Number two, someone then doesn't drive me. So the very first pitch, he gave me the bunt sign. I looked at him, he looked at me, and we kind of shook our heads and sacrificed the guy over second. I wanted to win.
Yeah.
I wanted to win. We didn't win. And so that ended up being, I can remember hitting first, going, I'm done. If that guy doesn't drive him in, we're done. And I'm done. So that's what happened.
Awesome. So as far as the emotions, you're saying that going into that batter's box, you already knew.
I knew what I had to do. As I got older and the more I played, I just wanted to do what it took for us to win.
Right.
If that was, me as a teacher and a coach and if you would play against me, you'd have a different opinion of me.
Yeah.
Because I want to win. So if I would do whatever it took for you not to like me and be so upset with me that you were forgetting about the 3 All-Americans behind me.
Right.
And that's just how I played. Now once that game was over, then we'd go do something together and we'd hang out and we'd talk. But once we played, that was different that way.
Right.
So I just knew walking in that batter's box, that guy's got to get to second base, whether I want to be there to have that happen or not. That's what has to happen. And we got there. We didn't win.
Yeah.
But we got there.
So the game's over then. What happened afterwards?
So after the game, it's a long time ago. But again, I still vividly remember. So the game's over. We shake hands. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm done. Like I'm done playing.
Yeah.
And got our stuff, and we were in Montgomery, and we'd been there for 2 years, so we got to come close with some people in Alabama, and the kids would come watch us play. And I can remember coming out of the tunnel, and this kid yelled, Dude, can I have your hat now? Because he had asked me all the time, can I have your hat now? And I just kind of looked at him and I went, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And I took it off, and I gave it to him, and then someone squeezed your gloves, so I gave him my gloves. As a Division II Mansfield player, I didn't play for Miami, I wasn't a pro guy. I'm not like a keeper forever, but I just felt I don't want this. If I keep this, it's gonna hurt a little more.
Right.
So I just gave it to him. Saw my mom. She saw me. She goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm done." And then 2 of us just started crying.
Yeah.
It was a hard time.
Right. So before that point, if anybody came up to you and asked you, what do you do? What's the first thing that you say?
I'm a ball player. I play baseball. That's what I do.
Right. So with the emotions of that final play, the identity, and then all of those things rolled into one, how has that shaped you into what you're doing today?
Yeah. Because back then, and even sometimes I still struggle with, your performance dictates whether you play.
Right.
So if you play, you're worth something. If you don't play, well, there's someone better than you.
Right.
And as in that whole concept of not getting drafted or not, people telling you this and that not happening, my self-esteem was really like, I'm not good enough. If they really wanted me, if I was really good enough, they would have picked me. To this day, sometimes I still struggle with, am I good enough at what I do? Am I a good enough dad? Am I a good enough husband? Am I a good enough educator? Am I a good enough leader? And as I got older, and I realized that my identity can't be found in that.
Right.
Because people's opinions will vary, circumstances will change and vary. God says that I am His child.
Right.
That I am holy and blameless. And that's who my identity's in.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as far as the sport then, and what it's taught you, what would you say would be the number one thing that you've learned from the sport then that you carry with you?
That it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
In baseball, you fail more times than you succeed, and you're stuck.
Yeah.
Right? So if I go to bat 10 times, and I fail 6 of those 10 times, I'm an All-American twice.
Yeah.
Right? So
average.
So I'm way above average, and I'm great at what I do.
Mm-hmm.
That's how life is.
Right.
You fail a lot. Show me someone who's never failed. I'll show you someone who's never accomplished anything.
Right.
So that's that's the biggest thing I took from the sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to fail. Now, I'm gonna work harder than you. You know, and I may fail more than you, but you're not gonna outwork me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look in the mirror, I did my best that day.
Right, and learn from those failures.
I've learned from those failures.
Absolutely. Awesome. So if you could go back in time and do any part of it over again, give yourself some advice, what would that look like?
I would have kept playing. Like, I should have kept. If I go back and be an athlete again,
Yeah.
when I walked off that field in '93, actually when I walked off the national championship game in '92,
Mm-hmm.
I would have gone to Cape Cod and played in the Wood Bat League. I would have kept doing those things, knowing what I know now if I didn't get drafted.
Right.
And then in '93, I should have athletically, when I look back on playing, I would have just kept trying to do something. I could have played over in Australia, I could have played in some other places, and I just chose not to do that because I'm done. Like, I'm tired of trying to prove myself to everybody that I'm this, and that.
Right.
When I proved you in these other things, and you don't care about that. So athletically, if I could have just eked a couple more years out to play, that would have been great.
Yeah.
But looking back on it now, I should have, would have, could have.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, after that play and after you're done, after that last World Series, you never played again.
Never played again.
But that passion that you have for the game, for sports in general, how have you passed that on then through the years?
Yeah. Well, I was your coach.
Yeah.
So we were pretty passionate when we played.
Absolutely.
Right. So we got the best out of what we had.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We didn't have the greatest players sometimes. We outworked everybody.
Yeah.
I think every player that ever played for me, I became a head coach when I was 24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those guys to this day, and the guys that when I coached with you guys at Loyalside, my guys at Lewisburg and Loyalside, and even the camps that we did all through Mansfield, and the clinics we'd go and talk and do, I think a lot of those guys took away from that, number one, the passion about, when I play, I got to play with all my heart.
Right.
But I also have to use my head because I got those fundamental things that we taught so many kids how to do,
Mm-hmm.
that I was taught, but then we taught so many other kids how to do as coaches, my assistants, all of us, and then my guys I played with, that we would teach other people. They took that into keeping play.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is the guys I coached and the people I around took that into life. Like, so we spent time with people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you and I spent time together.
Yeah.
I knew you knew me. That relationship piece. Baseball allowed me to spend long summer days in cars with guys driving to New York, or
Right.
bus rides in the spring and to Florida. But those relationship pieces.
Right.
And so the biggest thing I take from that then is those relationship pieces of just teaching people that they matter.
Mm-hmm.
We can use that sport to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that you can pass on in any sport, which is awesome. So I definitely appreciate that. Is there anything else then as far as you would like to add, or you would like to comment as far as what the sport has taught you?
The sport gave me hope.
Yeah.
It did. It gave me a chance to be an educator.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me a chance to get to know people. It helped me be resilient.
Yeah.
In my life. I think that God used it to help me be resilient. All those failures. I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I said quit, I'd be rich. But I wasn't going to do that.
Right.
So the sport, baseball itself, to hit a round ball with a round bat that's moving and going, it's frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But the sport helped me be resilient and showed me that I'm going to outwork everybody. I may not be better than everybody else, but I'm going to outwork them, and I'm going to have fun while I'm doing that.
Right. Well, it's definitely obvious that hard work did pay off, though, and that you can pass that on to somebody else, and that's definitely appreciated. As far as the title that you had for most doubles in Division II baseball. Yeah. Do you remember who you were neck and neck with and beat out at the end?
No, I do. I don't think anyone was really close to me doubles wise in '92.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Michael Tucker he was the first pick of the Kansas City Royals in '92, and he's a lot better than me. Yeah, we actually played against him in the North Atlantic Regional in '92 to go to the World Series.
Yeah.
And Frank Robinson came to watch him play.
Oh wow.
So I'm getting ready to lead off the game, and I look over at Frank. You here to see me play? And I winked at him. I don't know who you are. But yeah, it was a good year. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Didn't mean to put you on the spot but I appreciate it. So,
No.
Thanks again for the time.
Thanks, Brian.
And it was nice talking to you.
Appreciate it.
I hope you guys liked and enjoyed that as well. If you did, please like and subscribe below. And remember, whatever it is that you do today, approach it with the mindset of, is this my final play? Thanks again.